everyone.
Hey, hey, and welcome to After Hours here at Linda's Electric Quilters.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
I just haven't done that in a while, so I had to do it. Whoop,
I just
whoop,
need a
whoop.
little vacation to the Houston show, and you get all this energy all of a
I
sudden.
know. Who had a chance, if you were in the area or not, to get to go to the Houston show?
You don't have to be in the area to go to the
That's
Houston
why I said
show.
not, or not. Because we met a lot of people
Could have
that
followed
were
us
not
on
in that.
YouTube.
That's
A lot
true.
of people didn't go, but they followed us on YouTube. They weren't in the
That's
area,
true.
but they were at the show.
They were at the show. You're right, exactly. Because we were live like 3 times, so I guess technically you're right.
You were
They
at
were
the
at the
show.
show. If you did not get a chance to watch those videos, they're back on the YouTube. You definitely check them out. We showed videos of quilts and just kind of how crowded it was, and it was a lot of fun. It was crowded though.
It was very crowded, very crowded. You know, we're always behind the gates on opening day. We're not
Yeah.
out there with the folks.
Exactly.
So it was definitely a different feeling.
It definitely was.
But it was a lot of fun.
It was lots of fun. We saw lots of things, lots of people, lots of beautiful quilts, and lots of inspiration for sure.
Definitely. And if you were at the Houston show, I'm sure on Thursday and you saw us, we had our It's a Design Choice shirts with our wonderful LEQ shirts with the little Scan Me code on the back, which
Yes.
a bunch of you did scan, which was kind of cool to get the
Yeah.
report to see. So
It
that
was fun, definitely fun. But if you are watching us today, you're actually probably here to also learn. So Corey is going to actually work more on the Fancy This book.
Yes. We're going to be I lost my train of thought.
I know.
We're going to be diving into part 3 of the Fancy This book. We've taken a break from it for a little bit so you could catch up on your skills for what you've learned from part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But now it's time to dive back into it because we're going to get into part 3 and take a look at 3 different techniques.
One of them being echoing.
Yes.
And when you echo, you can echo on any type of object, item, things. And so we
But
decided.
wait, I had a whole thing to go with that.
Sorry, go ahead.
So
We obviously didn't practice.
This is totally off key. In the Fancy This book, we're going to be starting on page 8 tonight.
Okay.
And in this book, it bases echoing off of a bird.
Yes.
Birds are beautiful. We love them. However, in the inspiration of taking flight like a bird does, you totally ruined this whole thing. I had it all planned out. My little brother, Ryan, mom's son, but my little brother, Ryan, just passed his instrument rating for being a pilot on his way to flying the big old planes.
Big planes, yeah.
So I printed out a little plane, and we are going to echo off this.
Yes.
And it's also a great lesson on copyright.
Yes.
So when we get to that point, we're going to be talking about that because it is a very big thing.
Exactly, it is.
Yeah. So just kind of doing 2 things at once.
There you go.
All right. Well, we're going to head back to the machine. We're actually going to be on the M20 tonight. Normally we're on the M24, but I've got something going on over there.
You sure do. Coming
Another
soon.
thing coming soon. But we're going to bounce back to the machine, and we're going to take a look at what we're getting started on.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. Alrighty, so back here on the machine, I've got our sampler loaded on, and I've got that printed plane out. We talked about at the very beginning about copyright. Now, when you're working with images that you want to put on a quilt, make sure you're looking at like royalty-free images or copyright-free images. The place I get most of my images from for stuff like this is Pixabay. I'll have it down in the description below, but it's all royalty and copyright-free images, so you don't have any issues putting it onto something because this isn't really my original piece of work that I'm going around. So always remember when you're looking at adding things on, do copyright-free and royalty-free images. So I've got this image placed on paper underneath my hopping foot, and we're actually going to stitch around this to give ourselves a beginning space to work from, and then we're just going to echo around it using the actual hopping foot that's on the machine, kind of giving us our distance. And the fun thing about echo is you can echo your way out of anything when you're working with it, and sometimes if you want to give it a little curly cue or a little bit of a swirl, you can do that as well, but echoing just really helps you get out of situations when you're in it. And we're just going to quilt right through this paper around the outline. So I'm going to pull up my thread real quick. Doing my tie off. Perfect. Lay my thread this way and we'll stop it and move the thread in a minute. So I'm just going to hold this, work around it. It does not have to be perfect. I'm just using it as an outline. And I'm on 12 stitches per inch on this. And it's a different type of wing there. I just have a little bit of a swirl. There we go. All right, now that I've got that, we can trim these threads away. Boop. Back here to the beginning, and I'll stop right there where we started. I'm going to go ahead and pull just the top layer of paper away on this. We'll pull away the inside of it later, but I just want the top layer gone so it's out of the way. 12 stitches per inch gives me a pretty nice pull on that. Hold your fabric down while you do the pull, just so you're not pulling any stitches. You're just going to work around this, and this is no type of fancy paper. This is just regular printer paper. When you get into these little crevices, you might have to give yourself a little bit of a cut with some scissors. But I'm not pulling the machine away because I want to keep this going continuously as much as I can. Or you could, of course, trim off and go from there. Completely up to you. Boom, just like that.
That looks really good.
Thanks, Mom. So we're just going to bounce out from there, and we will just continue to echo around this piece. Now, I've split this outside section using my Ultimate Marking Pencil. I've kind of just drawn some barriers to stay within as we go around. And I just want to give you a quick visual of your book on page 8. So remember, this was off of a bird. But you're just kind of going in and just having fun echoing around something. Getting in the move, getting a good feel for your machine when you do that. It's so much fun. So we're just going to hop onto this and we're going to go at it. You can see I'm kind of, in some places I'm sticking with my full 1/4 inch. Some places I'm getting tighter. I'm starting to add spikes into it. Completely however you want to do it. There's no rules on echoing. When I get to a certain point, I just turn around. If you want to go in and throw a little bit of a swirl in there, throw a little bit of a swirl in. You want to add little tailpipe wind things, go for it. And then you begin to echo those. So here in this little space that we have opening here, if I want to come in with a swirl and swirl out and then echo around that, I could definitely do that. And I'm starting to change how I'm working around this piece. You'll notice I'm just kind of going with it. However I feel the machine should take me, I'm doing that. But I'm trying to leave some type of path to get back over on this section. So I left a little bit of a path here that I could come in and add a little bit to get back over here. So we're going to fill in the rest of this. And I'm going to do those backward C's. Looks like that's kind of the area it's traveling in. All the way up in there, and then I'm going to echo that out. Looked like it was meant to be there. Traveling. A little bit of an echo, and then echo around this. Back here to our spikes. Well, this is where it starts to get fun because I added in so much spiking over here that you just begin to kind of throw in whatever you want. We're going to travel into this and make our way back out to the ditch. So I can tie off right here.
So I guess the idea is just to kind of continuously keep it going, right? Like,
yeah.
So you just have one stitch and
There's
not a lot of pull-offs and pull-offs.
Pull-offs and
Pull-offs.
Tie-offs and tie-ons.
Yeah, exactly. And then you were just trying to keep it right there. That was actually like a pieced mark in essence, right?
Yeah, that's what I said when you were running and looking at fabric.
I know, I know.
She was looking at fabric
I
earlier.
was.
She missed the piece. But once you have that, then you can just pop your scissors underneath there and pull out your paper. And then we get to see
Can't wait to see
my little
it.
makeshift plane. Don't show Ryan this.
Oh,
He's going to be
I think
like,
it's a cute
brother,
idea.
that's not a plane. But you
Oh,
just
I think he
pull
would see it in there.
your paper right off. Now you could work with, there's a different type of paper that you could print on that's a little easier to pull off. But, I just like plain old printer paper. I've already got it. We're good to go.
There you go.
Maybe some scissors or a quilt sponge in here would help get that tiny little piece. There it goes. Got it. So there's my little plane.
That looks good.
We could write Ryan in it.
There you go.
So you just have that kind of space that you start off with and you keep going. Now, also in the book, one thing I forgot to cover is you can also overstitch your first initial drawing a lot to really show up, and then that echoing is kind of all in the background. Completely up to you, whatever you'd like to do. So over here in the upper left-hand section, I'm actually going to talk about something that's not featured in the book. It's on the sampler, but it's not in the book. We are going to be looking at the kind of top left area region. The peacock meandering is what I call it, and you've seen me do this on the channel before. It's such an easy background fill, or just a nice sashing, or just a nice overall edge to edge if you want to spread it out a little bit. But the cool thing with this one is you're starting wherever you would like, and you're going to start with a teardrop. So I'm going to start in the top left and come down this way just so you have the easiest way of seeing it. But you're starting in with a teardrop here, and then you're building on that teardrop. I'm going to do it over here so you can see it. Teardrop, and then you're building on that teardrop and kind of changing direction whatever way that you want to as you work around. But the biggest thing is building on that teardrop, kind of like your echo that we just worked on, building onto that and then turning it whatever which way direction you want to take it. So we're going to start up here in the upper left. Again, kind of have that imaginary line drawn right here to separate off these sections so we can get all of these amazing techniques from the book built in. So I'm going to tie off right here. I guess tie on right there. And then we're going to begin with our little teardrop. So we're going to start a teardrop, a couple echoes, and then come over and build another teardrop. A couple echoes. Teardrop, few echoes, and teardrop. You can always echo back or around if you feel like you're lost in a spot. And you can do as many or as few little echoes as you want. So for instance, up here behind the needle, there is some empty space. So we can echo back over that to fill that space in. Throw in a little teardrop and go from there. Now I'm going to begin to turn direction because you can see as we're moving through this, everything's kind of pointing this way. So let's turn direction and give it some different direction and go that way. I use direction a lot right there. We're going to go this way now. Little echoes, another teardrop. Echoes, and another thing. But this design is just so versatile, and you can kind of make it do whatever you want. You can also look at maybe building up your density on your design as well. So if you'd like to make it a little bit more open, like the original drawing that we had, you can do that as well. Just building your techniques and practicing out the feel and the groove of your machine. And we'll finish off right there. So I'll tie off, and then we can trim our threads and take a look at the fun little piece we just did. Trim that away, and there we go. So just a really quick, easy fill-in section right there with that peacock meandering is more or less what it's referred to. But that little extra bonus for this evening that wasn't in the book. Back to the book, we are going to be skipping around and we are going to dive into page 12. We're going to be looking at the angular or geometry meandering. So kind of working on that same flow where this is just crossing over, creating different angles, different triangles, and different things like that, along with having kind of a big swirl in the center to go from. So what I'm going to do is start here in the center. And I'm going to pull up my thread. Give myself a tie on. Stitch just a little bit to make sure that thread is locked. And then I can trim this away. And then we're going to come in with a big swirl. About like that. And then what we're going to do from here is once we have that first initial swirl started, we're going to go off and do that angular geometric meandering and work our way around. And then we're going to come in and finish back off where we started. Super duper cool, super duper fast, and super duper easy. So we're going to come off of this. And we're just going to begin to make random crossovers. Nothing particular that you have to stick with this. Biggest thing is keeping points as you do it. You can pop through things, make extra things, completely up to you. If you find yourself kind of caught in a little bit of a pickle, do very small angular meandering. You can cross over different things, completely up to you. It's fun, it's crazy, it's something you can do in the background. You can do it really tight as well if you wanted to, and you can go back in and fill in what you finished. Really keeps the eye and the viewer of the quilt looking around for what you are trying to accomplish in it. I'm going to give myself a swirl now, just to get over to a different section. I love it, I love it, I love it. It's so crazy that it's amazing. Echo around different things if you want, cut through, and then come back in to finish your swirl. Swirl back in, maybe I'll swirl back out. Have fun with it. That's the best part about this. It gets crazy. And that's the fun thing.
It gets crazy.
It does. You notice when I was just going wild with it.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah, you can just do anything, especially like when that's on a pieced project. Mm-hmm. It just is just going to add dimension.
Oh, yeah. Add dimension, add lines, and it just kind of separates itself out into the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks great.
All right. So those were our 3 little pieces today that we went
Awesome.
into. So we started with the echoing side of things, using that paper, remembering to watch out for copyright things, moved over to peacock meandering, and then ended off with a crazy angular geometric meandering.
Awesome.
So what do you think?
That was awesome. I just love how you can just take a book and get some inspiration, learn simple techniques for freehand, but also get inspired because you can just change it up. Like you changed where you put the airplane in. You can just put anything in.
Threw it in, just went for it. That's the best part about quilting. Like there's really no rules.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's just kind of whatever you think looks best. I mean, just go for it.
It goes with what?
It's a design choice.
It's a design choice. Always. It's your design. It doesn't matter.
Because even the angular geometry, that's not the exact way that Linda does it in the book. She does it a completely different way. I like the craziness of this. Hers is more, what's the word? Concise.
Yes.
Works in a certain different type of pattern. Mine just goes all over the place. Why not? It's more fun just to
like
be all
your
over the
life,
place.
all
That's
over
my
the
life.
place.
All over the place. Might as well be. I mean, that's just the fun about it. So just kind of dive in. Having this sampler piece and having Fancy This can really just let your inspiration fly.
Exactly.
Like the plane.
Exactly.
It's a full circle moment.
So if you don't have the book, we have them on our website. You can get the hard copy and have it shipped to you, or you can do the digital download.
Definitely.
Either one, and then get inspired along the way.
Boop, boop, boop.
And in the meantime, until next week, I am going to cuddle up in this cuddle.
Oh, yes, my lovely table runner that I made
He's
for
like,
her.
no, a little table runner. I'm like, oh, this is so soft. And it's cooler today. Like it just got like
Rainy and
rainy and drafty.
cold and drafty.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, you could just wrap up in that cuddle.
Well, I think they remember this quilt. I don't know if they do. This
They
is
might, that scrappy
Minky quilt that Mom pieced together. We were so proud of her.
Yes.
And it just had Minky on the back. We had a question about that in the comments, I think.
Yeah, we did. Well,
Yep.
this is the Minky that we used.
So I stole this from her house so we could use it as a tablecloth this
There you
evening.
go.
So, alrighty, well, thank you all so much for joining us. Make sure you leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to our channel if you have not done that. That's the easiest way to stay up to date with everything going on here at Linda's Electric Quilters.
That is.
Until next time, bye.
Bye.